the first 6 games of the season, whether people are overreacting to it or not. And I think one other way that the answer is yes. And again, guys, it could not matter if the Browns aren't good. They're going to lose those. They're going to lose one of those 6 games, or sorry, they're going to lose a multitude of those 6 games, no matter what.
Yeah.
But if they're ready for week 1, there's like the Bengals are gettable, and especially early in the season. But to me, I just think it's interesting. I think people have settled in on, after that 6th game, that's the pivot point at the quarterback spot. I still think we might be. There are scenarios where that happens.
It might be the bye week, by the way, too, because that's usually a time when a lot of teams just regroup.
Yeah, well, so I think that's another spot. But I think it's really hard for me to see the Browns go from we're going to try and win every game we can this year to we've given up and we're on to the rookies in 6 weeks' time, unless you're like 0-6.
So I think that's interesting, though, because you got to try to find a way to balance that out, right? And now, is it going to the rookies? Is that a waving the white flag on the season moment for the Browns?
Yes, that's exactly what that is.
Okay, because then maybe we're looking at it differently. I'm looking at it like maybe you're 1-5, maybe if you're lucky you're 2-4, but it's almost like a spark plug type decision where you're trying to just get a jolt of energy. You're trying to get something.
What's more likely in a season, going to the rookie quarterback as a spark plug or going to the rookie quarterback as like a Hail Mary meets we got to find out what we have the next year?
So I do think this depends on who they go with, right? Like if you go with Kenny Pickett, then what we believe to be true could just be true, that Kenny Pickett isn't any good. And maybe after 6 weeks, they find that out. And it's like, oh, this wasn't Matt Canada. This was Kenny Pickett just flat out sucking. Let's go to Shedeur Sanders. Let's try to save the season, and let's keep this thing moving. Or let's go to Dylan Gabriel, and let's try to keep this thing going. Now, more likely than not, you're right. And that usually, if you miss on the first quarterback, the team's probably not going to be very good, and the season's probably going to spiral. But that's why they have 3 other quarterbacks to eventually move to.
I just think with the bye week, week 9, that is like you're splitting the season directly in half. That makes so much sense for me. And now, granted, the next week you do start against the Jets, but okay, It's the Jets. That's one of the weaker games in your schedule. And I'd rather a rookie quarterback have 2 weeks to succeed. And this is under the assumption that like Shedeur or Dylan Gabriel don't win the job right out of the rip.
Well, and at least in this scenario too, the rookie quarterback is also given the whole stretch with the bye week to know that they're starting. Mm-hmm. I always think that's incredibly tough. And we talk about it from time to time. Then no matter how long you tell him, he's not going to know. As he keeps claiming, Sunday during the day is when he found out. It's like, DTR, buddy, it wasn't going to make a difference. Like he kept his employment long enough based off of that. But no, like I think it matters. Like you go off the loss or off whatever game that is, and then if Shedeur or Dylan know for 2 weeks they're going to be the starter, I think that matters. I think there's a difference there. I think it's incredibly hard to find out on Wednesday you're starting and then turn around on Sunday and make it happen.
I mean, here's the thing. There's so many points where I think you can call out, hey, this is when it's going to happen. This is when it's going to happen. I'm just going to continue to go back to part of my, the first 6 games of the season are a little overrated here. Part of it is just that's going to be the logical point. Because the only thing that I think if you go 6 weeks in and all of a sudden you're pivoting to a rookie quarterback, it could be hypothetically, oh, we did it. More likely it is Kevin Stefanski might be cooked. Like that, if there's destabilization on the head coach spot, which again, I would be shocked if Kevin gets fired in season. I'd be even more shocked if he got fired that early. But that's really the only way I see them going to rookie quarterback, unless it's just, unless it's more than just a quarterback problem.
Okay, but play with that for a second, though, because I think it's a good and interesting point. Like, after week 6, you only got 2 weeks before the bye to then showcase that this thing isn't just completely falling apart. And so maybe he would need to showcase that, hey, Kenny Pickett didn't work out, but this is going to be my saving grace right here. And then, because again, the bye week is just so much time. And if there was a move to be made for the head coach, it would happen at the bye.
I continue to come back to, I think the Browns early on, you know me, I still think they're a 3-5 win team. I think they're going to be more competitive than people expect early in the season. And I think we've just flipped it. I think we flipped how this season's going to go in our mind, that there's going to be this lightning up point, and then all of a sudden that's when they're really going to take off. No, I think their chance to succeed in any way is baked in going 3-3 or better in those first 6 games. And if the O-line's healthy and the defense is number one, If the defense is top 10 to top 12, the way I think people expect some sort of regression to greatness, well, then there's no, I mean, okay. Yeah. Okay. It's tough schedule. Yep. And good teams, bad teams have also had success during rough parts of their schedule.
Mm-hmm.
If they're going to subvert the expectations of 5.5 wins, it is completely baked in those first 6 games. And I honestly, that's another reason why I'm like, I don't see him making any of the switches, any of the different moves we can talk about until well after week 6.
I mean, you go 3-3, and let's say it's Joe Flacco or even Kenny Pickett. If you go 3-3 out of the gate, that quarterback's got to have a pretty long leash, I would imagine. 3-3 against these teams that's an impressive run, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean, I think the more I've thought about it, and again, I'm not going to live to the 3-3. I think there's a really good chance that the Browns are competitive enough, even if they're only 2-7, that you talk yourself into playing a veteran quarterback well past, especially Kevin, who I think is very precious about his veterans versus playing young quarterbacks. And maybe some of this is projecting because we haven't seen Kevin in this scenario yet. I think there's a really good chance that the veteran quarterback, whoever it is, plays well past their welcome. For most Browns fans, who there will be a logical part where they go, okay, why are we doing this again?
I think most Browns fans are going to get there by like week 4, or more likely than not. We're going to be week 4, week 5, week 6. We're going to be like, all right, we're bored with this toy. Can we bring a new one into the mix? There's no
disagree,
thought.
By the way. I mean, granted, the most popular player is always the quarterback.
Well, again, I'm not even talking for myself personally. I'm talking for Browns fans. I feel like Browns fans, week 4, week 5, unless Joe just looks awesome or Kenny Pickett looks awesome, I think we're going to constantly be in this evolution of, all right, bring me the new toy, almost like you're just discarding the other one, and all right, here's a new crack at it. At least, I said, speaking for the Browns fans, speaking for myself, I think that's one of the more interesting parts of this year is almost having like a conveyor belt of quarterbacks that we just keep bringing new ones in, and then it just kind of gives us a little bit of a jolt, and then we're discussing that one until we're done discussing that one, and then a new one comes in, and that's just kind of our season.
Well, so specific to that, I do think that's inevitably where Kevin himself has to be the last line of defense, and where there might be that. So when I said the thing about Kevin earlier about he could end up holding on to the veteran for an extra 2 or 3 weeks past, I think it's because you're going to want to make it from his standpoint for his own job security and just like trying to keep guys engaged. Like you're going to feel the pressure to play one of those young guys because of the new toy, and you could almost become contrarian about it and hold on to it too long. I think there's another chance that this really happens. I think Kevin, for a multitude of reasons, is going to have a really, really, really tough time admitting this season's over because he did last year. I mean, they were trying to win up until the second they pulled the ripcord and went to DTR. And I think that was about
final 3 games.
Final 3 games. So after week the 14th game. And I kind of feel like this is an even more heightened version of that because of career concerns if you follow up a bad season with another bad season.
It's going to be really interesting because I honestly, there's no part of me that considered Joe Flacco playing as the starting quarterback in week 10, let's say. Week 11. It's very hard for me to get there in my head where I look up and it's like, oh, we've gone through a 2-7 start and Joe Flacco is still the guy and Kevin Stefanski is still putting him out there for reasons X, Y, or Z. I think if that happened, I think it would just tell us that he just has no confidence in the other 3 quarterbacks.
I don't think fans will tire of Joe unless he's like if Joe's making enough big throws and enough big plays and you're just not winning games, I think fans are going to have infinite patience for him versus either a young quarterback or Kenny Pickett.
Yeah, but that's if he's making enough throws. Like the worry I have with Joe is what happened 2 years ago was just the reason why. Listen, it was not good in the playoff game. I believe if you played a week after the playoff game, it would have gone very similar to that playoff game. Multiple pick sixes and the wheels start to fall off the bus. Like the perfect amount of games for Joe Flacco that year was right up until the end of the regular season. And that's a worry I have with Joe.
Oh, see, I think there's enough goodwill for Joe that I think Browns fans will have some, not a lot, some patience and almost I don't want to say make excuses because that we're getting real in the weeds here. But yeah, I think that's another reason why I think Joe inevitably will start week 1, other than he's just he's just better than Kenny Pickett and he's not a rookie. I think there's a baked in patience with You mentioned like week 4. I think Joe would have to be obviously bad. Like, I'm not talking about like last year. He wasn't obviously bad in Indy. He just wasn't winning games.
He had a passer rating of 90. That's the same passer rating that Aaron Rodgers had last year.
And they had Anthony Richardson when there was a lot of pressure to go back there. If Joe's that same quarterback was last year, they could be 1-8. And they could still feel like they have a chance to win game, a la what I've kind of sold this whole time, the most competitive 3-14 team in NFL history.
But I think more likely than not, I think there's enough people that love Shedeur still, and I think there's enough people that are intrigued by what Shedeur can do, that if Joe Flacco just looks like he's getting through the motions, and yes, he's completing some passes, but it just is what it is. While you're losing games, I could see the fan base getting very now. But the difference here is that
the fan base. Are we talking about
me?
You?
Yeah, me, definitely, definitely me. But the difference here is that Stefanski's shown in the past that man does not care. He has been very resolved in when he makes a decision, staying with it and not letting the outside noise creep in or get in there. But it doesn't mean the owner doesn't feel that way and wouldn't chime in, and then maybe he'd have to listen.
This is the ultimate stress test of an allegedly evolved Haslam ownership group.
I love a John Taffer stress test
on the thought partners themselves. And if you even want to throw, I don't even know if is DePodesta still around. We'll find out.
He's at least in San Diego.
He's never really left San Diego.
That's exactly right.
But I mean, I do think that this season could. I think there's a lot of ways this season goes that it's the ultimate stress test. And we're truly going to find out how committed Jimmy is to these two, how committed they are to each other. And I don't think they've ever faced, I don't think last year was this season, because I think they could look at each other and go, that's Deshaun. This is an all for one for all turns into all for themselves kind of season if they go anywhere from 3 to 5, and given how that looks.
I mean, there's a reason why the national pundits out there have spoken publicly about the idea that they think Haslam will step in if it starts to go poorly. And I don't know if he will or won't. I really don't. It feels like he's given both Barry and Stefanski the flexibility to be able to perform their jobs, but it's Haslam. He goes rogue.
How long?
He constantly goes rogue.
I mean, he hasn't gone rogue for Is it a couple years now?
Yeah, what a run he's on.
We haven't gotten the old John Dorsey okey doke, the Hugh Jackson okey doke, the Sashi Brown, Ray Farmer okey doke.
Well, I mean, you could make an argument he did step in and tell him to fire Alex Van Pelt.
Yeah, I don't think
because all reports were Stefanski still wanted him around. And that was just a season ago.
I think that might have been the front office, and maybe that was involving.
Maybe, I don't know.
Again, the absolute Teflon shield. I mean, no GM, no head coach has ever been given the benefit of the doubt and just spotless record compared to the job they've done because, the owner. I mean, this is really we're talking about Al Davis level of.
Well, hey, thank goodness we got Ken Dorsey in there. He really that was genius.
I mean, hey. It almost worked.
We don't talk enough about that, by the way, just what an absolute disaster that was. And so many, we just bypass it all. I think a lot of Browns fans have even forgotten Ken Dorsey existed. And it was just last season.
I forgot him too. It's the same way as a quarterback, by the way.
It wasn't that far.
It was the same way. I forgot about Ken Dorsey, and I forgot about Ken Dorsey, the quarterback.